Okay, Deep, welcome back to the show. We'll keep it short and sweet this week. We'll review FPL Game Week 2. So, Deep, how did Game Week 2 go for you?
Not bad actually, I mean, it's better than game week 1 and I'm sitting on a nice lavish 75 points right now. While we're talking, I think Liverpool's still playing, but Trent and Jota are out. Oh wait, in fact, my bonus points added, I'm at 80 right now, so not a bad week to have.
80 in Game Week 2 when you don't know who's playing, who's not playing is a good week to have.
Correct. And especially after, I was really hoping that Chelsea would sort of help me out with this, but Nkunku apparently was on the bench, so no help.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Chelsea game and they scored 6 fantastic goals, and fortunately for me, as a non-Nkunku owner, he did not contribute to any of the 6 goals, so that was good. But Chelsea looked pretty dangerous, man. Like honestly, I hate to say it, but Chelsea assets are looking more and more likely for the game week forward. But yeah, I mean, sorry.
I think, during pre-season and the whole conversation around Chelsea was that we don't know who their starting 11 would be. But one thing's for sure, Cole Palmer, especially with the game that he had right now, 3 assists and 1 goal, he's clearly in contention for that sort of sacred spot of like Salah and Haaland. So, I know he's priced at 10.5.
Correct.
But people might be really tempted to now consider him for the upcoming game week. So, yeah.
So Deep, in general, who are the players that kind of stood out for you in Game Week 2?
See, as we spoke about Chelsea right now, so I think Madueke and Cole Palmer, but if we look at it from an overall perspective, I still think that Salah and Haaland are, the GOATs and the sort of guys to own. With regard to the Arsenal assets, I feel like David Raya, their keeper, is sort of coming out as a very surprising pick, considering the number of saves that he's making. So, he's getting a lot of bonus points for that, and especially after yesterday's Villa match. So, and also I'm trying to think about all the big guns. Your Liverpool, we've covered. If I'm talking about City, I think De Bruyne is someone, who played well, and I think for a 9.5 price point, he's doing pretty well with a goal and an assist in the match versus Ipswich. I think it's still, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I mean, apart from the big hitters in the small bracket range, I think Emil Smith-Rowe had a great week. He scored a goal, and I think he got a 3 bonus as well. I mean, you have Ahmad and Garnacho for United, who ideally should start and bang all the points, but I don't know, for some reason Rashford keeps starting, and for some reason Garnacho
I think you got a lucky break yesterday with Garnacho not scoring.
Yeah, so unfortunate.
So I could imagine you like sort of, at the edge of your seat with that offside call, but it is what it is.
I had Ahmad already who had scored, right? And if Garnacho scored it,
correct.
Because they, 2 of them are priced so well, 5 and 6.5. So if they get you returns, it's like, it's a bonus of sorts, right?
Correct. But the way that my strategy usually is that I guaranteed minutes is a thing for me, which is why I am not tempted to look at Garnacho, because I mean, between him and Rashford, it's a very difficult decision, and I know that he's playing better than Rashford, but I don't think Ten Hag is going to start with Garnacho right now.
No, man, absolutely.
From the left wing at least.
Absolutely. That's one of the secrets to success in FPL. You need guaranteed minutes. You have,
absolutely.
I mean, to be honest, I actually thought Garnacho and Ahmad would start the season for United, which is why I went for them. But I mean, nonetheless, all other players, at least your starting 11, they have to be guaranteed for a 70+ minute at least. Otherwise, you kind of lose out.
Tell me this: what are your views on Bruno Fernandes right now?
Man, honestly, yesterday him coming off was just ridiculous. I didn't understand. It was a bad move. See, he's eventually going to return. You know that, I know that, the FPL world knows that. It's again, once he probably plays in the number 10 position, hopefully from next week onwards, assuming Xerxes starts. Because while Mount has had a great start to the season, I don't think Mount and Bruno work together, because they're both such similar type of players. They play in that number 10, number 9.5 position, but they can't score those goals. So Bruno will return. Hopefully, it starts next week. Our dear friend Parth still has Bruno.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, he
yeah,
does.
yeah, he
Okay.
does, yeah.
He's too down in the league for me to even give a shit right now. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but I was because Bruno, seeing the formation for the past two games, because he was, the furthest man forward. One would think that he'd come with returns.
Yeah.
But I read a stat where him and Eze from Palace, both of they had the highest number of shots
Yeah.
in the first two
Yeah.
game weeks, and they've returned with
Yeah.
0. So you never know when it starts clicking, right?
No, honestly,
so
I
that's the
think
beauty of the game.
he's going to click
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. He's Crystal Palace's main threat. And Palace under
Yeah.
this new manager, unfortunately, in these two games, they've not done much, but they are a very attacking team. They are no more the Roy Hodgson, Crystal Palace, defensive, counter-attack. They're not that anymore.
So, about game week 3, Ronak, what do you think? Let's do a preview. What do you think? What do you think are the teams that are going to stand out in the next couple of weeks? Because from what I've seen in the FPL world, because I follow a bunch of videos, is that people are sort of angling towards a wild card after game week 4, which is pretty early.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's start off with your team recommendations for game week 3.
Yeah, I kind of understand them slightly because once you have the first 1 or 2 game weeks, you kind of know who's starting for the different teams, number one.
Correct.
And number two, if there is a drastic fixture change, fixture swing in for a particular team, right? For example, Chelsea, they have a crazy fixture swing right now for the next 5-6 games. Brighton, another team I would want to talk about. I know they have Arsenal away, which will not be easy, but post that they have brilliant fixtures. So the likes of Minte, Mitoma, João Pedro, all good buys to look out for. Arsenal is a team, I know they have Spurs and Man City very soon, but Arsenal assets are always a plus. Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa. Aston Villa's fixtures are just unreal. I know they lost yesterday, but I don't know how they lost yesterday, to be honest. They had the better chances, clearly.
I think the way he steamrolled past Declan Rice, he sort of sent him to the cleaners, man. And he was really unlucky not to get an assist, and Watkins really should have scored.
And Deep, honestly, when he was bought in January, he didn't start much. He's a winger, but I think what Emery said is that he needs to learn how to play our way. And Aston Villa under Emery play down through the middle quite a bit.
Correct. He's a sort of hybrid player right now. Yeah. So where he's starting from the wide, but then he's like running down the center in most attacks.
Yeah. So my teams to watch out for would be Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Villa. But in terms of players, who would you look out for in game week 3 and beyond?
So because personally speaking, I'm looking to move Nkunku out because of the lack of minutes. Yeah. So if I'm considering someone in the 5 to 6 sort of bracket, and Morgan Rogers after yesterday's game, it was a real eye opener because I was sort of toying with the idea of playing him in the beginning, but then I wasn't too confident because of the eye test. Because in Villa, we didn't see him as much as you said, right? He didn't play too much. And his preseason was brilliant, but now that I saw him versus Arsenal, I think that he's a good punt. With regard to other specific players, I think I was one of the proponents of the Haaland draft. Having Haaland and Salah together, I know you have them, but in my opinion, it was a little disbalanced in terms of the transfers that would subsequently happen. But now I'm looking to get Salah in. And more so because I'm not very sure, because I've got Jota as well, and I'm not very sure when Darwin is going to start games. So I'm not very sure of Arne Slot's system. So I really want to move into Salah, who's like sort of nailed on for his position. And I'm looking at Kevin De Bruyne because Foden's still getting eased back into the system. And since Oscar Bobbs had an injury, I know Gundogan's back, but Pep Roulette doesn't start till sort of October, November, so we've got correct. We've still got about a couple of weeks where we can milk it, and so I think De Bruyne has started off on a good note. And I saw him versus Ipswich, and he was really good and sharp. So I think I'm looking at him as well. So these are the players, and I think about a note on Arsenal. I feel like You know, their defense has sort of. It's one of those things where you're not looking at the fixtures anymore because you know that in
Yeah.
Arsenal, like I'd made the mistake of benching Gabriel yesterday,
Yeah,
and he gave me
yeah.
5 points, right? And versus very strong Villa team who kind of screwed them last
Correct.
season. So I think Arsenal assets are a must to own right now. If you have a defender, well and good. But I'm looking at Kai Havertz because one way or the other, he's very involved in the goals in terms
Absolutely.
of assists or scoring, and you know these special sort of occasions he always pops up. So Havertz is another name on my list.
You know, Deep, Jesus, I think, is injured as well. He was not in the
There
squad.
you go.
So,
Yeah.
you know, Havertz is going to play number 9 because he
Absolutely.
only plays behind in the hybrid number 8 role
Yeah.
when Jesus starts. But if he's injured, I don't see Nketiah starting over Havertz, honestly. So, Havertz is a
Yeah, I
great
don't think
pick,
that's
yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because Arteta is known to be one of that, like, you know, he just trusts a bunch of players and he goes with them all throughout
Absolutely.
the season.
Absolutely.
So, and also I have a very wild card sort of pick because, you know, I saw Aston Villa play yesterday
Yeah.
versus Arsenal. And Matty Cash got injured yesterday. So, you know, there's a 4 million defender.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
Nedeljkovic, right? And
Yes.
Aston Villa right now, they have Leicester, Everton, Wolves, and Ipswich. I mean, you know, the next 4 fixtures, and I think it's
Correct.
a really good sort of defensive thing. And so, you know, that might be a good shout out. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, if there are reports of Matty Cash being out for a while, 100% he's a great punt. Especially people who have Valentin Bako, who's
Correct.
been shipped off to Sevilla for so many
Absolutely. I mean,
FPL
that
managers.
was that was a heart attack for the FPL world because
Honestly.
everyone, you know, he was the 4.0 enabler for everyone. But yeah.
Exactly. So he'll be a great pick. But yeah, let's wait and see if Matty Cash is out for a while. But he'd be a great pick.
Yeah.
Great, Deep. Thank you so much. This was us previewing and reviewing Game Week 3 and 2 respectively. We will be back very soon, maybe after the international break again, to preview Game Week 4 and beyond. So yeah, keep liking, sharing and spreading our content. Thank you.
Pleasure as always, Ronak. We'll see you at the next one.